we were just, that was all. Now we're live. I'm so sorry. So we chatted for like 10 minutes and we weren't on live. Now we are. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Wow, we had such
now we had play.
We had some great content going on, but the live button, for some reason, was technical difficulties beyond our control. And now we're live. It's 5:15. I don't want to keep everybody, but my name's Tim Kane. This is LNC Talks. This is a program that deals with everything in the medical legal world, and we help attorneys and law firms sort through their medical legal cases in lots of different ways. My name's Tim Kane. I'm the CEO and founder of Medical Legal Connection. We serve law firms nationally. We do a lot of records summations, meritorious reviews, and we find medical legal experts for firms. I have two very esteemed guests today that are part of my organization. One is Jennifer Leahy. She's the vice president, helps me out with Medical Legal Connection here. And the other one here is Nicole Wadzina, who is a very well-established provider of care in the Buffalo area. Hello, ladies.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I promise we're on now because the ticker is going up. And
yeah, I see that.
The clock's running. Yeah.
So while we were talking and we weren't live, we're talking about a case and standard of care in regards to temperature regulation. So, and Nikki was in the middle of it. So Nikki, I'm going to have you take it back, send it back to you for talking about this case and how temperature monitoring of the core post-cardiac brain injury is becoming a standard of care.
Yeah.
And concentrate on the deviation and what you figured out.
Okay. So I am DNP and I specialize in neurocritical care. And one of the protocols or standard of care that we perform is called TTM, or therapeutic temperature management. And this is a protocol, a standard of care that's performed after cardiac arrest. And it is just like, I like to tell people, just like you sprain your ankle and your ankle swells, your brain can swell after cardiac arrest from a type of injury called anoxic brain injury or lack of oxygen brain injury that occurs during a cardiac arrest. When your heart stops, it stops blood flow to all your organs, including your brain. Your organs, like your kidneys and your liver, they can they can be put on like dialysis to help them improve and to recover from that injury. But unfortunately, the brain, any injury cannot be reversed from the brain. So it's a different story than the rest of the organs. So TTM is performed. It can't reverse any of the injury that occurred during the original cardiac arrest, but it can prevent secondary injury from happening, called delayed cerebral ischemia, to happening after the initial cardiac arrest. And so we cool the body down to help slow down the metabolic demands of the body. And so we're working with the case on this right now. And honestly, when someone comes in post cardiac arrest or they arrest in the hospital, whatever critical care team in that facility should be called to consult or admit the patient to evaluate them for TTM, because that is the standard of care post cardiac arrest. So it should be done right after the patient essentially either comes into the hospital or right after they arrest on the hospital floor. And the case we're working with, that did not happen. The patient arrested in-house and was taken to the ICU, and the TTM was not provided for the patient. So that was a breach in standard of care, because that should be done for every cardiac arrest. There are complete contraindications to TTM, but that should also be documented in the chart saying, the patient was evaluated for therapeutic temperature management, but these are the reasons why the patient is not going to undergo this therapy. Because that's, if the patient's a DNR and they were coded, or the family made them a DNR, that's a contraindication, because, we're not going to be, things are different. Or if the patient's following commands, they're giving us, these are like 2 thumbs up commands, opening, closing your mouth commands, 2 fingers. So that way we know that their brain is neurologically intact. Then we're not going to do TTM, because we know that their brain has not, suffered such a severe injury that it would require that protocol.
Excellent. So you reviewed that case, identified that standard of care for the law firm. Where, without revealing any personal information, like where is it at now? Are they going to,
It looks like they're going to pursue the case. We're kind of lining up experts, neurocritical care expert, critical care expert, to try to give their expert opinion and opine on the case, so that way we can move forward with the case.
So then, just to reiterate, just kind of like what all three of us know what I'm about to say is, we review cases, and if we find them meritorious and they want to proceed, we also provide the medical expert.
Right.
And that's what's happening in this case that you just referred to.
Right.
And this one, is it cardiac medical expert that we're looking at?
I don't know if they might have a cardiac expert, but we have a neurocritical care, a neurointensivist expert coming in. So yeah.
Good.
All hospitals have like a neurointensivist that runs a TTM. Sometimes it's a cardiac intensivist. Sometimes it's just a critical care intensivist, which could be a pulmonary intensivist. It just depends on the facility and who actually does. This used to be called hypothermia protocol, but we call it TTM now. So whoever is the expert of that and assessing the patient for it, is qualified to essentially opine on this type of case.
Makes sense.
Awesome. So other than that, I know you've had that one case, and we did a case. It was against I'll just say a cancer center in the United States here, and we can just kind of review that for our audience. It was basically, jump in anytime here. I'm just going to say we had a firm bring us a case that had 35,000 medical records.
And I recall, Tim, they asked us to move mountains, and we had like days go through these 35,000 pages.
Yeah.
And I think it was like right around Memorial Weekend too. So not to mention, there goes your holiday.
Yeah.
They made a mistake. Sorry, interrupt everybody. It doesn't matter. We're just throwing the ball around. That's all I want to do here is just throw the ball around LNC wise. And if anybody wants to ask us any questions, nurse, attorney, anything, please put it in the chat box. What I want to say though is, what really made their request for us to move mountains was they had a date for arbitration, and they thought they could adjourn it, and they were told no. So, and then they came to us with that request. Go ahead, Jen.
It was like a Friday afternoon. I remember you calling me. You're like, what do we do? I'm like, of course we take it. We can do this. We divide and conquer. We have great legal nurse consultants that divvied up the medical records, and we all collaborated, and we all came to the same conclusion that we didn't see a case, and we didn't see a breach of standard of care. This patient got great care, and I think they weren't expecting that, but they appreciated our honesty and our rationale and what we.
Then we met with the firm and explained why.
Yep.
And we were able to back up our point why, and they were very appreciative of that.
And it was nice how, because all of us have a little bit different background as far as expertise, that when we had literally 35,000 pages of medical records, we were able to break them up and divvy them up to like who was the most comfortable being able to go through them. So like, if, I'm used to like looking at ventilator orders and critical care charts, like it's easier for me to go through it. So we weren't divvying up and giving each other ones that was like be slower for us to do, so that we could be fast and efficient and get it done in literally days. I mean, it was less than a week, but we did like.
Yeah. I think
it was less than a week. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we got done sooner than what well, first of all, I don't think they thought we'd get through everything, but we got through everything. I think we're done sooner than expected. And then we all collaborated.
Right. We're like, what do you want us to concentrate on? What are our big bullets here that we need to concentrate on? And we just like took that and just, did it for them.
Because they wanted to walk into that arbitration hearing. They didn't want to walk in not knowing a thing, not knowing anything. So we prepped them pretty well on that. And they gave us some nice compliments. So that's one of our feathers in medical legal connections. Yeah.
We had a good time because I think when we were all coming through,
it's
all good.
Yeah, this is very easygoing. Very.
That's why we're legal nurse consultants. We can be flexible, work from home, multitask, be on a a talk here, have things going on in the background. We're multitaskers, so that's what we do. But we really enjoyed doing that. I think just we're all coming to the same conclusion as we're going through the medical records, and we're just like, oh my God, are you seeing this? Are you seeing anything wrong? And it seems like things were followed up, and that was a complicated case. I mean, you had to kind of pick your battle. Like, clearly, if you treat one as something that's more critical than something that's not as critical, I mean, it kind of tipped the scales.
And one thing I was able to do for them, because, vital signs was one thing we concentrated on. I was able to literally take every single vital sign and from a certain time frame and, put them all out in an Excel sheet and make them into a graph. So it's very easy to track what the temperature was, how often they took the temperature, what the temperature was, when it spiked, and just in one shot, one piece of paper, you were able to figure all that out very easily. So that was something that I could do for them. It's time consuming, but for them, you know what I mean? In the long run, it saves them lots of time because it answers a lot of questions very quickly. It's easy to show other people.
And those are the two attorneys, like you were conversing with them, like in the airport and everything, like on a trip, weren't you? And just, getting the job done, no matter where you're standing. See, that's the beauty of being an LNC.
Right. And I think that's what's so good about us. We're so, when you're nurses, you're so used to being flexible. You're so used to being adaptable. You're so used to things just changing, because that's how it always is on the job. Policies are changing, patients are changing. I mean, Tim, you worked in the ER, so the ER, that's all you do is change all day, every day. You know what I mean? You never know what you're going to walk into. You never know what kind of day. You could have the craziest day today. Tomorrow can be like, oh, wow, it's a completely different day. One day you eat, one day you don't, And I think having that as our career and bringing that to this is that even though I feel like the legal world is more of a Monday through Friday kind of situation, for us, we're so used to it not being that way. So we're able to, do things kind of on the fly at any time and be a little bit more available and flexible.
That is spectacular. Heather, who didn't join us for this, and she's been doing a couple cases for those new firms that we got as well. She's already got I know she's got one cardiac case going in, and I believe another. So, I mean, the point I'm trying to make is that we don't turn down any case. And I have my oncology nurse that Laura is also.
She's had a couple. Doing
failure to diagnose for any oncology cases, or if she has one that's going on that they're probably going to go forward with is I should have invited Laura in here, that someone had cancer and died, and only half the standard of care was kind of offered to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they're going to make a big deal out of that.
Yeah. For us, if they have something they think is a case, send it to us for a merit screen. We can screen it. Actually, you need to get this, and this records. And if you can get these records, we'll be able to give you, a more definitive if it's, has merit or not. So we're able to even look at that and know what records we need, because we're used to looking at them and know where the gaps are in the records that are provided to them.
Oh, I know something I could talk with Jen about that we could tell you, Nikki. And I think I tried to get a hold of you too as well, but I think you were in the middle of shifts. Jen and I kind of just did a real brief overview of a case for an attorney on mold exposure.
Oh, yeah.
And
that one was interesting.
It was very interesting. We basically told him that, I mean, as much as we do say cases are meritorious, we find some aren't. I mean, and that's just the way in medicine is. Jen, she was kind of shopping around for a doc to say she had mold exposure when we kind of were like, no.
Well, this particular client that went to the attorney was living in an apartment that she thought she had that had mold, and she even called the housing Department of Human Services or housing. They've been out there and they've closed her case. Come to find out, it's the mattress that she sleeps on that has the mold, and she continues to sleep on this mattress with mold and live in this apartment. But yet she's going to doctors to say, and she's got this mold exposure, she has respiratory issues, and then she even went to a cancer center, and basically they said she was anemic. So no cancer diagnosis. She does have family with cancer, and she was referred to genetic testing. But even like she goes to this doctor of chiropractor who gives all this different types of supplements and things like that. And then I guess she tried one time. In some of the notes we saw that what did she gurgle? It was
I don't know, but there was just the notes just included a lot of things. But we should watch too. Let's not get too like detailed, so it's out.
But she like gurgled some medicine and felt tingling in her lower extremities. I mean, it sounded like it didn't sound like
she wasn't in the Buffalo area. Let's just put it that way.
No, it was another state, but it was just things were just basically, long story short, things were not adding up, and it's like,
And we were able to show why. All our labs, for the most part, were fine, with the exception of a few, like.
But like here, like stuff that if you're exposed to mold, like your eosinophils, like some of your lab work would be elevated, and hers were all normal. So it's
and she also had COVID. Seeing COVID can mask itself as
mold exposure, and chronic COVID kind of can have the same symptoms. So, but things just were. I mean, the picture the picture just didn't come together. It didn't. As Tim calls it didn't pass the smell test.
Yeah.
No.
Sometimes, like, patients, their story is different than, what's in the medical record. So
right.
Putting that together, putting up the patient summary and the patient's experience and their timeline of events, and then looking at the medical records, it's like, sometimes it's like, wait a second, is this the same patient?
Right.
That same story, their office representative, whoever was like talking to me about the case, said, "Oh yeah, she came in. She said it's a slam. The client came in. It's a slam dunk. There's a smoking gun. This and that." We're like, "No, there isn't."
You always have to go through the medical records. You can't. You have to have all the records, because you just never know what you're going to find, and that's where you find if the case has merit or not.
Right.
And that's just something that could blow your case.
Right. And I also feel like sometimes, like, facilities, they're very smart about not sending certain things. You know what I mean? So you have to make sure you see where that gap is. Like, wait a second, this patient had a fall and there's no accident incident report. There's no nursing note about it. There's no nothing. Like, wait, what happened around the fall? Like, that's what we need. But it's sent to all this other stuff, So you have to always make sure
I think they do that on purpose, hoping that no one notices. And then they drop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
no,
I
couldn't agree more.
You just gave me all the fluffy stuff,
Right.
Yeah.
And then they'll bombard us with like billing pages and, codes and just, 100 pages that just have nothing to do with anything.
Oh my God. So many, every single pharmacy thing, oh my gosh, just so much, you're just like, oh, wow, this is a lot. Yeah.
So that's some of our cases. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jen.
No, I just said in there's like a lot of duplicate records and things like that. But keep going, Tim.
And so we're getting a lot of medical expert requests. And I think I could say this. They're finding some cancers that they're questioning malpractice on. And these cancers are very rare. And we've been searching around the country and coming up with some medical experts that are happy to opine. So,
yeah, we got some interesting rare cases.
We got a prison case, New York State prison. That was probably a whole bunch. And the other thing, and I haven't sent Nikki to one in a while, and you've done a few out in Minnesota, Jen, is we go to independent medical exams as witnesses. Those are fun. I mean, but we provide a lot of great content and deliver some services to attorneys that they don't realize that the benefits of sending a nurse to an independent medical exam with a client. I probably average 20 a month and just get appreciative comments from the law firms in that sense as well.
So there's a variety of things that we do as legal nurse consultants. I mean, even like Nikki doing that Excel spreadsheet and doing a graph. That's a good visual. I mean, all those things help make you understand your case. So if the attorney understands the medical part of the case and the attorney clearly knows the law, and you put those two together, I mean, you have a 1-2 punch knockout for your case.
And they were very complimentary. I know you saw it, Nikki, because I'm CC'ing those emails. They were very, very appreciative of that.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Yeah, and Jen sees them too.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So I don't think we're going to have any questions. We've had a couple people. I can see the ticker of how many we have in the audience goes up and down. But if anybody has any questions, if you're a nurse, if you're a physician, an attorney, if you're anybody, feel free to pop it in the comments. And if not, that's okay.
Feel free to reach out to us anytime. We're at medicallegalconnection.com, or you can get our email addresses.
In fact, that's mine. Let me put Jen's up. Yes. And if anybody would like Nicole Wadzina, take a look at their case. She's got numerous specialties. She is always happy to take a peek and just get a hold of Jen or myself, and we will get that done.
Absolutely. Happy to do it.
Next month, we have an attorney guest coming on. It's Rick Nicotra from Nicotra Law Firm.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
We are excited about that.
Good guy. Really started off independent and really has built his practice up.
In 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think he's blowing other firms out of the water. So
good for him.
Yeah. So that, I believe, is at the end of next month. And I think that's going to be a very interesting conversation, because we're going to talk more about personal injuries and personal injury clients and the benefits of, I don't want to say everybody should run and sue, but I think some people don't realize when they do get injured by somebody's malice that there is some value to that they shouldn't shortchange themselves out of.
Absolutely.
What's that?
Good topics ahead.
Yes. It's miraculous though that in my experience, something that's quite common out there is, and I don't mind saying this because I go to these independent medical exams, and it's the defense where they're suing or who they're suing it changes so much, but there's a common theme in a bunch. They go after these Dollar General stores, Dollar Tree, dollar below stores and all that. And then they fall in their aisles and they seem to, file suits after them, and they all have like major shoulder injuries and cervical injuries. But I just see the constant theme of the dollar store seems to get hit a lot.
Really?
Yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Well,
I do a lot with work comp cases. I don't see a lot of work comp in dollar stores, but you're talking about just people like the customers coming in and falling.
Right. From a person. Yeah. This wouldn't be work comp. The personal injury aspects, they'll just walk down an aisle and just go kerplunk.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but it's so many of the dollar stores. A few Walmarts here and there, but Dollar Tree and Dollar General, I mean, their liability insurance got to be through the roof, because it just I could think of 5 just since Christmas.
Oh my gosh! Wow,
that's clearly a trend.
Yeah, some wet, slippery floors there.
Yeah, well, and when we're in Buffalo here, and it's the wintertime, those slip and falls seem to increase, obviously, with the bad weather.
Yeah.
Yeah, versus the car accidents, but everybody seems to get rear-ended. It's so many IMEs. It's like, what happened? I was at a light. Somebody hit me from behind. That's I don't want to jinx any of us, but it's like, who's doing that? You know what I mean? Like I stop in time.
Yeah.
I
know. I feel like that's like for the ones that I've done, it's kind of been that story a little bit, actually. Now you say that, I'm like, no, that really does happen.
Right.
And so it's always like someone come up real fast too, and someone's like at a red light. So there's like, they're not bracing, they're not nothing. They're just, getting hit so hard.
I wonder if it's got to be the lack of attention due to the phone. They're looking down at the phone like, oh crap.
Yeah, I know. You're like, oh no, yeah. I know.
Exactly. And everybody gets a back injury and a neck injury from that usually.
Right. Yeah,
every once in a while they'll hurt their head.
Arm injuries from that too. Like someone tried to brace their daughter,
right,
and got blown out shoulder from it.
And one thing I've learned too from these IMEs, like I guess like your risk of severe injuries like increase. Like say you're driving along, and we've all done this. Like I turn to the right to like kind of change the channel, and I'm turned this way. and somebody hits me from behind, I have more of a chance of severe injury versus being in the neutral, like ready, position.
Yeah, the 10 and 2,
Right. Yeah. I've learned that a lot from doing these.
Yeah,
So.
it's very interesting.
Well, all right. I think we've been at this. Well, we wasted a little time before I hit the live button, but we've been at this 25 minutes, and I think that's good. Well, I'll give one more last call for any questions. I see there's about 2 or 3 people in the room. It keeps going up and down. But other than that, I think we're going to wrap this one up, and we'll be back next month just to do some more throw the ball around with legal nurse consultants and discuss any topic nurse consultant related or attorney related or physician related. So thank you.
Will already be February. So in Buffalo, we count this down here. So it's nice. I can't wait to make.
Well, from the start of February to the end of February, we gained an hour and a half of daylight.
Oh my gosh. I love that. We can already start to see it a little bit here and there. I'm like, okay, the days are getting better. Okay.
I'm skipping Florida this year, and I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, that makes the winter nice if you can go someplace in between.
Right.
Because our winter just lasts forever here.
Just to warm up, take your coat off.
I know. I just was in Texas last week in San Antonio, and it was like 65, 60, 65. But it was like you could just walk around in a nice sweatshirt and be so comfortable. And
or like you walk down a sidewalk and your feet aren't getting wet.
I know. Or slipping, breaking a hip practically. Yeah.
Crazy.
I know.
Well, all right. I'm going to hit conclude here, and thank you for joining me. And we will be back live next month.
Sounds good. Take care.